To most people, the word debt signals financial strain. It represents obligations, repayments, and interest rates that loom over a household budget. For the average worker, debt often feels like a prison, a weight that limits freedom. But in the world of the ultra-wealthy, debt does not carry the same meaning. For them, debt is not a burden, it is a tool, a key that unlocks the door to financial freedom. The rich have mastered the art of transforming what appears to be debt into an endless stream of untaxed liquidity, giving them access to wealth while keeping their fortunes compounding in the background. This is not magic, nor is it an illegal loophole. It is a strategy rooted in mindset, structure, and a fundamental understanding of how money moves within a system. While the middle class works harder for raises and struggles against higher tax brackets, the wealthy step out of the hamster wheel entirely. They do not depend on salaries, dividends, or capital gains for their lifestyle. Instead, they borrow from their own companies, creating an untouchable pipeline of tax-free cash that allows them to enjoy luxury while their empires continue to grow. So, here are 10 reasons how the rich turn debt into freedom, the secret of borrowing from their own companies. 10. They do not take salaries. They do not spend dividends. At first glance, it seems logical that the wealthy would live off high salaries or substantial dividends from their businesses. But this is the script most of the middle class follows, and it comes with a heavy tax burden. Salaries are taxed at the highest rates. Dividends, while attractive, are subject to double taxation, once at the corporate level and again at the personal level. Capital gains, while lower, still trigger tax events when assets are sold. The wealthy sidestep all of this. They do not take salaries or rely on dividends. Instead, they borrow against their assets, whether from their companies or their investment portfolios. By borrowing, they avoid triggering taxable events. They access cash without selling and without declaring income. Their wealth remains untouched and continues to compound, while the borrowed money provides the liquidity to fund their lifestyles. What looks like debt on paper is actually a strategic escape from the tax trap. 9. Their mindset sees through the illusion. The middle class follows a predictable financial script. Work harder, earn a raise, pay more in taxes, and save what is left in hopes of long-term stability. This is not freedom, it is a hamster wheel. Each step forward comes with higher obligations and diminishing returns. The wealthy do not accept this script. They recognize it as an illusion designed to keep most people in line. Instead of chasing higher salaries, they ask how money itself can be restructured to flow differently. For them, wealth is not about effort alone. It is about building systems that remove the friction of taxation and compound growth. Their mindset allows them to see debt not as a liability, but as a mechanism for freedom. 8. They move like ninjas. The ultra-wealthy do not play by the same rules as employees or small savers. They do not earn money in the conventional sense. Instead, they borrow money from their own empires. To the public, this looks like debt, but in the right hands, it becomes a tax-free cash pipeline. This approach is stealthy. It leaves little trace in taxable income reports. While the middle class measures success by salaries or bonuses, the wealthy glide under the radar, using debt to fund their lifestyles without leaving obvious tax footprints. Their ninja-like movements are not about hiding money illegally, but about maneuvering within the existing rules in ways that few understand. 7. They don't fall into the tax trap. The structure of taxation is tilted against those who earn through wages. Salaries are taxed at the highest rates, dividends are taxed twice, and even capital gains come with obligations. Loans, however, are not income. The Internal Revenue Service, IRS, cannot tax borrowed money because loans represent liabilities, not earnings. The wealthy have turned this into a cheat code. Instead of working for taxable income, they create untaxed liquidity through loans. This does not denote they never pay taxes. Rather, they minimize taxable events and control the timing of when obligations arise. While the average worker pays taxes upfront with every paycheck, the wealthy delay or reduce their exposure indefinitely. 6. They know how the setup works. This strategy is not guesswork, it is carefully structured. The wealthy know how the setup works and follow it with precision. First, they build a company that generates consistent cash flow, creating the foundation of their fortune. Instead of pulling the profits out as income, they leave the money inside the business, allowing it to compound and grow within a protected structure. Over time, this builds a larger and larger pool of capital. When they need liquidity, they do not sell assets or take dividends. Instead, they borrow from the company directly. On paper, this borrowing appears as debt. In reality, it is untaxed wealth flowing into their hands. This creates a paradox. They live as though they are spending their fortune, yet the fortune itself remains intact and continues to expand in the background. 5. Infinite lifestyle upgrade glitch. Consider how most people buy a house, a car, or even a vacation with after-tax income. This means they first work, get paid, lose a significant portion to taxes, and then spend what is left. For the wealthy, the process is inverted. Dream mansion, private jet, supercar? They do not pay with taxed income. They borrow through their companies. The result is luxury living with no tax hit. While others grind for incremental lifestyle upgrades, the wealthy glide into new levels of living without sacrificing their compounding wealth. This is the hidden glitch of the system. Debt allows infinite lifestyle upgrades without the drag of taxation. 4. They utilize this illusion nobody else can see through. On the surface, loans from one's own company look like conventional debt. But in practice, this is an illusion. When you control both sides of the deal, debt takes on a new meaning. The wealthy can set the terms, the rate, and the timeline. They are both the bank and the client. This arrangement transforms debt from a burden into a tool of freedom. Unlike traditional loans that come with pressure from external creditors, self-directed loans are flexible, controllable, and ultimately aligned with the borrower's best interest. For those who do not understand the mechanics, it looks risky. For those in control, it is liberation. 3. They reshape taxes instead of dodging them. The wealthy are not necessarily evading taxes, they are restructuring how taxes apply to them. When they borrow from their companies, they often pay interest on those loans. That interest, instead of being lost, flows back into the company as income. The result is a loop. For everyone else, interest on debt is a liability that drains resources. For the wealthy, it is recycled into their ecosystem. Taxes do not vanish, but they are redirected and reshaped, flowing back into the structures they control. This ability to recycle obligations into assets is one of the defining traits of financial sophistication. 2. They have silent power. To the public, loans look like a sign of weakness, a reliance on borrowed money to sustain a lifestyle. But for the ultra-wealthy, loans are silent power. They are invisible pipelines that move money without tax fingerprints. This silent power allows them to scale empires while others chase raises. With access to capital at will, they can expand businesses, acquire assets, or fund lifestyles without eroding their core wealth. The quiet elegance of this power lies in its invisibility. While most people measure wealth by income, the rich operate in a realm beyond those metrics. At 1, they think rich and ask rich. The questions people ask reveal their mindset. The middle class asks, "How much did you make?" The wealthy ask, "How much can I borrow without tax?" That single difference explains the gap between a paycheck-driven life and an empire-driven life. One side counts income, the other controls pipelines. One side saves what it can. The other structures are systems that generate compounding wealth indefinitely. This mindset shift seeing debt not as limitation, but as liberation is what makes wealth feel untouchable. The rules are the same for everyone, but only a few ever learn to play the game differently. Conclusion: debt is often misunderstood. For the average person, it represents chains that tie them to banks, lenders, and obligations. For the rich, debt is a master key. It unlocks tax-free liquidity, sustains luxury lifestyles, and keeps wealth growing untouched. The difference lies in perspective, structure, and control. The rich do not simply earn more, they ask better questions, build smarter systems, and manipulate the rules of finance to their advantage. By borrowing from their own companies, they turn what looks like liability into freedom, creating a loop where wealth compounds invisibly while they enjoy the benefits in the present. For most people, financial freedom seems unattainable because they are stuck in the illusion of salaries and savings. The rich know better. They do not run faster on the hamster wheel, they step off it entirely. And in doing so, they reveal the quiet truth. Debt, when controlled and redefined, is not a trap. It is the hidden language of freedom. Did you like this video? Unlock the secrets of real financial freedom by subscribing to Luxo-Life for more. Until next time.